Hello everyone, this is the LEGO Speed Champions Ferrari F40 at last. Now I personally have been a big fan of the F40, the real car, since it was first released, and thus I had the potential to be very, very critical of this if they didn't get it right. Thankfully the designer, I believe, got it right. It's not quite perfect, but it is a great LEGO build, and I don't think it would have been easy. No, I am positive it would not have been easy to make this any better by any means, at least without using some illegal techniques or some glue, some rubber bands, or some non-LEGO pieces. This is fantastically well done. I'm very satisfied with it. I mean, you can just look at it at first glance and see that the most important aspects of an F40 have been captured well here. Of course, the F40 itself lends itself well to fitting into the Speed Champions style, with the relatively narrow roofline and relatively wide fenders. It makes it look less caricatured than most of the designs that they've tried to capture. This does use a lot of very interesting build techniques. None of them too, well, really none of them annoying, none of them difficult to implement. Certainly took quite a lot of work to come up with. You can see the half plate thickness of black line going through it with the help of brackets and headlight bricks to offset things just the slightest bit. They do use some stickers, which had to be, they had to be used, but not as many as a lot of the Speed Champions sets in the past, and they do have a very, very special print on this. That tiny Ferrari logo is a print on the side of a 1x1 flat plate. You get two of those, one on either side, and that's just a really, really nice touch. You also get two different options for how to set up this car, so it can represent either the quote-unquote base model as shown here, or an LM or Competizione version, which you can get to by swapping out just a handful of pieces. Let me finish with a look at this base version first. I find it especially important when applying stickers to a set like this to be mindful of the pieces adjacent to the ones that you're presently stickering up. On this set in particular, these 1x4x1 slopes back here have a little bit of the rear window that is off to the side, and each one also has a bit of side window on it. Here you want these to be these stickers to be aligned as close as possible to the inside edges, so you don't see a red inner border there. It makes it a lot more continuous between the built pieces and the beginning of the dark section of the sticker. Similarly, over here on the side, you want this to be as close to the right and as far down, or as far forward and down as possible, as just beneath it is a black piece and just to the right is the opening for the window. So again, by being a little bit extra careful as such, you can make the thing look a lot better and a lot more realistic. Notice the surprisingly accurate triple exhaust style within the space of a 1x2, made possible with the help, again, of very relatively recent pieces, with the rounded 1x2 plate there, which has the two open studs that you're able to stick something through. The center one is just part of the mold for that piece. The other two, the openings, are really made into the same size and shape by just using a couple of the modified 1x1 round tiles with the vertical bar that sticks up with a small mini peg hole. It all just fits together pretty perfectly. I appreciate the half plate protrusion of the skirts on the side, made possible with studs on the side construction for the doors, and then the use of the modified 2x2 tiles with only two studs on them to create those skirt sections themselves on either side. I also very much appreciate the physical NACA duct opening that's used. Which one is that? That's the one that I believe is used to cool the intercoolers on the real thing. Then the brake duct duct down below is done with a sticker. Those two aren't necessarily compatible in their style, but I have to appreciate any attempt to get physical details in there wherever possible. The interior is actually done nicely as well. I mean, nicer than I could ask for, just how well it is finished up. You know, it's not an afterthought. They tried to make it look as complete as again, reasonably possible. It only seats one person, of course. He's centered, of course, but that's more than a good enough effort. As expected, these two pair together very well on display. Of course, the larger one is far more accurate, but I mean, what all can you ask for in a 6-stud wide build that is also mass-produced and designed to be easy enough to put together for kids? No, I could not have asked for better than this. Maybe the wheels are just a little bit aggressive with the thickness of their spokes, but I think maybe something in between the two would have been ideal. Perhaps it's just the hubs that are bugging me a little bit on the little miniature version, but overall, again, I can't reasonably ask for anything much better than this at that scale, and so much of it is done better than I could have ever expected. To convert this to the even less pedestrian Competizione version, or the LM version, not the same thing except for the few that were the same thing, you can Wikipedia that for yourself. But LEGO gives you an extra assembly that you put together to use up front. They give you one to use at the back. They give you some alternate headlight covers that do definitely make a difference. Just a change from the smoky color to a perfectly clear, but it is ideal actually for this conversion. A different color for the wing, and they also include a lighter weight set of wheels, which are just wheel covers in this case, and they also have more spares in addition, but these are the official ones. The way the trunk lid section gets replaced is especially clever because it's just clamped in place by the windscreen, and there are no studs holding the assembly itself in. This is just this little tiled over section that basically acts as a slot. You just slot this right in. There's the new one, and again, it just gets clamped by the end back there, and that's going nowhere. So here it is fully converted over, and I think I like this look a little bit better, except for the extractors up front. They're just a little bit too fake looking to me with the use of the stickers. If they had figured out a way to do that with some physical depression, you know, to actually get some shape there, some alternate shape, I think that would have looked much better. But I think I like these wheels a little bit better. And definitely having that black wing on there is a nice touch. The lower clip here gives you a better diffuser sort of appearance on either side. And I think it looks good from these low angles, especially right around from a nice quarter view like that. But from most reasonable angles that you look at this thing, that, you know, they're much higher up, you don't really notice that. It's relatively a subtle change. And I just noticed that there's one other piece I forgot to mention regarding prints, because there are actually two different prints in this set. The other one is also on a 1x1 plate, but it's right here. So you have one of these on either side to get that red on the side there, and you get that in both places. That looks pretty good as well. And again, I appreciate the little extra effort they went to include that. Here are the spare parts that get left over when you build this thing, including one of each of the printed 1x2 plates there. And you get 2 full sets of spare wheel covers, because the 2 wheel designs that they use as options for this set actually come in different packs. So one set came in a pack that had these, the other set came in a pack that had these, so you end up with 2 full extra sets, which is a nice deal. And over here in the regular stuff, there's that one, which is kind of special and super useful these days. If you want to see the actual build of this entire set, I did record the build process, the actual assembly, and you can check out that build video over on my build channel, and I've grouped it together with one other Speed Champions build also. I have not forgotten about the minifigure. There is one minifigure included in the set. Of course, they have to give you a driver, but I mean, you buy this set for the car, not for the driver. That said, the driver figure is nice. That torso is pretty cool. Well done, with a little bit of suggestion of depth in it, with a little bit of shading there. That's pretty nice. I only wish he had also included a hair piece to go with this, just as an alternate. You know, I think that would have been a little bit more ideal, just so you can have somebody, you know, who's out of the car just kind of posing with it. All told, it's a yes for me. One of the more interesting, more clever builds from the line. I think one of the more accurate overall shapes and set of proportions in the entire Speed Champions line, and yet not difficult to put together. Having the two different options is a really cool thing to have available as well. The inclusion of the prints is very nice, but especially the Ferrari logo on the side there. If only that had been, I think, a tile instead, I would maybe like the piece even more. But you know, they did commit to having some studs on top, probably, well, for a number of reasons. A number of pieces had to have studs on top with the limitations of reality and physics and all. But yeah, I really just cannot complain about this. I like the base car, which does not make me automatically like the model, but fortunately the model does it good justice. So that's it from me for now. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that I showed you all the angles you wanted to see for this thing and helped you to come to a conclusion on your own, whether you like this or not. And I'll talk to you again as soon as I can in the next video.